you, ma'am. So basically, to talk about rotten eggs and how to convert it into golden eggs, we'll first start by looking at the egg market. And so this is basically by Dr. Kumar. He's the CEO of the NECC, National Egg Commission, so Egg Coordination Committee. So we'll just look into the future of that. And India is the third largest producer of eggs in the world, and the future of eggs and the whole egg industry in India is actually very, very bright. The turnover in the industry is over 1 lakh uh, crore, and it supports a lot of other industries around, such as maize and soya farmers. Um, so the future of the poultry industry itself, whether it's chicken or eggs, is going to be mainly in e-commerce, commodity sales to branded product sales. I'll get into that, and ready-to-eat eggs and their preparations. So basically, e-commerce in terms of selling your eggs to Instamart or Zepto and have them then resell to the consumer. So that's where e-commerce sales of eggs and poultry products come into. And ready-to-eat eggs and their preparation are things like boiled eggs that are ready to eat straight from the shelf. You can take it and eat it. So these products are quite common in other countries abroad, but in India, it's pretty much unheard of. So let's look into the problem. This is what the problem is when it comes to rotten eggs. So every state has problem with rotten eggs, and even countries such as Oman and Qatar have stopped egg import from India due to the rotten egg problem. And every year or every month, you'll find rotten eggs in the news. So there are just countless stories in the news about rotten eggs, and so if you look at India and food waste, it's actually very high compared to anywhere else in the world. So we're trying to see why this happens to the eggs. So first of all, we need to understand the egg shell is not airtight. It's not like it's a plastic layer or anything. There are a lot of pores on the egg shell. And these eggshells have at least 7,000 to 17,000 tiny pores all over the shell, depending on whichever source you look at. But what is common is that there are pores on the egg shell. And this is actually what it looks like under the microscope. These pores is how bacterial and other fungus and other microbes enter the shell and end up spoiling the egg. So let's look at the different components and what the shell is supposed to do. The shell works as a barrier against a lot of microbes, handling damages, waste, farm, and environmental conditions. So what we're trying to do is control the microbes and the environmental conditions to protect the egg. And so let's look at the causes of egg spoilage and the preservation from spoilage. So causes, there are plenty of causes from fecal matter of the hen, flies sitting on the egg inside the egg farm as soon as it's been laid, that then in turn gives it to microbial spoilage and such things like that. And now there are many ways to prevent egg spoilage, which would be like either keeping it in the fridge, or there's a whole lot of different processes that can be used to prevent eggs from getting spoiled. But what we're trying to do is use organic substances that are harmless, cost effective, and that can easily be applied and scaled, even in a large farm. So using a process like this, they're currently spraying H2O2 to just disinfect the egg outside, but we're trying to look at different things. So now this is actually a study and a presentation done by Guru Ram Srinivas back in 2020. And he talks about the poultry products and the factors that affect the egg shell quality. So in this, you can see that people are, I mean, basically what he was trying to say is that uh, the egg shell quality varies based on the type of food that's been fed to the chicken. And this is very difficult to control because farmers are always trying to cut costs due to market forces. And also the bird strain will affect the eggshell quality. The age of the bird also affects the eggshell quality. All of these, the bird age varies from farm to farm, bird strain varies farm to farm. So obviously the egg would also vary farm to farm along with the quality of its shell. So what we're trying to do is kind of uniform that and see how we can extend the shelf life of eggs. So again, like this comes to nutrition and how this is not scalable because you cannot control it from every farm. And if all these things are not really controlled properly, if you don't feed the egg properly, and if the chicken are not of the right age or the right strain, the eggshell itself is weak, and the egg becomes extremely suitable for invasion by microorganisms, such as, it causes rot and mold. Bacteria, mold, yeast are some of the things that penetrate the shell. And washing the egg actually causes a bigger problem because it removes a layer called bloom. This bloom is a natural membrane that is on top of the eggshell that is supposed to protect the egg against microorganisms. So these are just the different bacteria that causes the bad smell and basically that hydrogen sulfide smell that you get with rotten eggs. And so the main reason after this study that Guru Ram Srinivas did was that he found out the rate of deterioration is closely related to the loss of CO2 through the shell and increases the alkalinity of the egg contents. Now, this is what needs to be prevented. So we have to try to prevent the loss of CO2 in order to extend the shelf life of the egg. So let's just look at the different methods that are being used worldwide by farmers to extend the shelf life of eggs. Basically, reduce the rate of CO2 that is being escaped from the egg. So one is refrigeration, and refrigeration is being used even in India, and it is costing roughly 15 to 20 paisa per egg per month. And washing and sanitizing, even though it removes the natural protective cuticle called bloom, still in some countries they want to wash it. For example, in the United States, they wash the eggs before keeping them in the refrigeration units or the cold rooms. But in Europe, they do not wash it because they want to maintain the bloom, which is the protective cuticle above over the eggshell. So in some countries, like even in the US, they coat the egg with mineral oil, that is food grade mineral oil, and this kind of seals the pores, and that is helping to increase the shelf life by weeks for them. Natural cuticle preservation, this is pretty much what I was saying. They don't wash the eggs in European countries because of the laws over there. Controlled atmosphere storage, where they kind of increase the CO2 in that area to slow the aging process. Higher CO2 levels can delay the breakdown of the egg whites proteins. Pasteurization is another process where they heat the eggs in about 42 degrees Celsius water for about 3 to 5 minutes. So it heats the egg, but it doesn't cook it. And what this does, it ends up killing all the bacteria at that temperature. And this is used by some egg brands in Singapore that I have noticed. But again, the eggs are very expensive, and this is a expensive process. Eggs have also been packaged using vacuum packing and other MAP, which is modified atmosphere packaging, in order to extend their shelf life. But that's again, the cost is quite high to employ it over here in India. There are also clean production practices and liming or water glassing, which is not scalable. Water glassing is something that, if you have a small egg farm, you can put 20 eggs in a jar of water and keep it for a longer time, but you cannot actually scale it in a farm that is laying about 75,000 eggs a day. That is not possible because you don't even have the space to store so many barrels of water and eggs inside. So breeding and diet, again, which cannot be controlled. Now, what we thought is the best solution for India is a product that is 100% natural, and it is made from natural things such as this is from the curry leaf plant, and these are berries from the curry leaf plant on the left side, and these berry extracts, seaweed extract pectin, which is actually a starch, and we're using things like kefir and zein, which is extracted from the corn kernel, and shellac, which is already being used in food coating in the fruits and vegetable industry. So what we did is we kind of mixed some of these together and formed our own layer, which we can dip the egg into, and like a solution, which we can dip the egg inside and take it out. That can extend the shelf life of eggs for 30 days. It extends the shelf life of eggs for 30 days at 42 degrees Celsius and 75% relative humidity. So usually eggs don't last for more than 2 to 3 days in this temperature before the bacterial count starts increasing beyond the recommended um, count set by the FSSAI. So we also noticed that in unpeeled boiled eggs, so if we have boiled eggs, we can dip it in the solution and they last for 90 days in the fridge in 3 to 6 degrees, which is also unheard of. So these two tests seem very promising. And these are our test results. It shows 90 days in refrigerated condition, and have absolutely no microorganisms over there. And this is for a boiled egg. And this is raw eggs 30th day, like 42 degrees and 75% humidity. Again, there are no microorganisms invading the egg. In fact, the aerobic plate count looks very low. So this is there has been no test that has passed this uh, this level of what do you say, parameters in the world as of now. So this seems very promising. And the tested solution, we also tested the solution for heavy metal pesticides and microorganisms, and the test solution itself passed all the results. So the test solution is also FSSAI certified under Section 99, which is the substances added to food. And basically this everything under gelling agent, thickener, stabilizer gum, and things like that come under Section 99. We also, you can see that majority of the solution is protein. Nearly 75% of the thing is protein over there. And we have no heavy metals or no pesticides in the product that we have. And obviously there's no microorganisms in the solution as well. So coming to the cost, this is where it gets very interesting. It's currently at 4.5 paisa an egg, and we're constantly working on reducing this cost. So depending on the scale, how much ever we're able to scale based on that, we can definitely try to reduce the cost. And right now, the opportunity cost would be the cold rooms, which cost 15 paisa to 20 paisa per egg. So this would be, and this is also very sustainable because it doesn't even use electricity. So the cost to coat one egg is about 0.6% of the market price of egg, if you consider the market price to be 4.5 rupees. But I think today it's about 5.2 rupees or something, or maybe 4, I'm not too sure. But brands are selling eggs at rupees 15 an egg, which means it'll only cost them 0.2 to 0.1% of their selling price. Um, so the benefits of using a product like this, one would be to reduce food waste because you can extend the shelf life of your eggs, and it also saves a lot of money because you can extend the shelf life of your eggs instead of throwing it away or selling it at a discount. You can reach remote areas where you couldn't reach before just because it takes too long to reach that area. So if you have 30 days shelf life, you can send eggs from the south of the country to the north and vice versa to hit underserved markets. And it'll also help preserve the quality for export purposes, where countries that used to ban our eggs can now at least give it a chance and try with such a product and see if it works. There's also convenience for a lot of consumers. They don't have to buy 30 eggs in a tray and eat it immediately within 3-4 days. They can keep it with them for at least 2 weeks and eat it slowly. There are more business opportunities. People can start new products like boiled eggs and sell it in supermarkets and coat it and sell it there. Maybe people would pick it up from there at a decent price. And it's also energy efficient, as we don't use any energy compared to cold rooms. And also, when egg prices are low, you can store the eggs using this and sell it later when the price goes up higher. And this also, just to show, there's a lot of
In the world of
so there are a lot of complaints that, oops. So basically, the reason why we even did some research and got into this is just to, uh, coming from a D2C background, we noticed there are a lot of egg complaints that come on social media. And nearly every day, there are hundreds of customers that complain about rotten eggs being delivered to them on Swiggy, Instamart, Zepto, and Blinkit. And all of this is just there online with just photos and photos of rotten eggs being delivered to them. So a product like this would definitely save egg brands their name and also help companies like Swiggy and Zomato maintain their quality.
in the
So
in the world of egg
that's it.
production, freshness is
Just our
everything. But
video.
what if you could extend that freshness naturally, ensuring your customers always receive the best? Introducing Excellent EGGstender, the revolutionary natural liquid solution that extends the shelf life of your eggs by an incredible 30 days. With Excellent EGGstender, just one quick dip transforms your eggs. Say goodbye to the risk of spoilage, food waste, and brand suicide. Our 100% natural formula is backed by science, designed to keep eggs fresh, safe, and nutritious longer than ever before. No more concerns about the quality of eggs reaching your customers. Imagine the peace of mind for egg farms and businesses. Your reputation for quality becomes unbeatable. Reduce returns, enhance customer trust, and save lives by preventing foodborne illnesses. From farm to table, Excellent EGGstender ensures every egg is as fresh as the day it was laid for up to 30 days. Join the countless egg producers who are already seeing the benefits. Contact us today to make Excellent EGGstender part of your egg preservation process. Because when it comes to eggs, egger life needs more life. Excellent EGGstender, egg shelf life enhancer.
So that's the end of the presentation. And if anyone has any questions, they can raise them now or later whenever you guys view the video.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vishal, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions now. In the meantime, can you please stop sharing the screen so that we can see your full video?
Yes, just trying to,
Yeah, please
okay.
take up the questions now. The first question is, how do these preservation techniques maintain or enhance the nutrition value and safety of eggs during extended storage periods?
Basically what it does is when you dip the egg inside this solution, it forms a thin layer coating that is odorless, colorless, and like basically you can't even touch it or feel it. So it forms a thin layer, a membrane that blocks the pores. And by blocking the pores, not only does it it doesn't allow microorganisms to enter the egg to spoil it, and at the same time, the carbon dioxide that is trapped inside the egg when it is laid isn't allowed to escape. So, because the carbon dioxide cannot go out, the rate of spoilage of the egg is dramatically reduced.
Yeah. What challenges have you encountered in implementing these innovative preservation methods in Indian context, particularly concerning local climatic conditions and storage infrastructure?
So basically, what we've noticed was uh, when we first started this project, the product itself was a liquid solution. So we had to transport it in barrels, and we also, because of that, and because it was in a liquid solution, it actually costed about 7.5 to 7.2 paisa per egg to coat. And then we had to work on trying to reduce the cost so more people can afford it, more farmers can afford it. So now, then we tried to convert the liquid itself into a powder form, which can easily be transported and sold to farmers that can just get the powder and fill water in a barrel and add the powder and mix it themselves. So by doing that, one tiny change, we're able to reduce the price by a lot. So this was one of the challenges that we faced over here. Second is the Indian climate, at least where a lot of eggs are being produced in the East Godavari district, Namakkal, Kolkata. These places get extremely hot, dry, and humid all at the same time during the summer, and these temperatures usually reduce the shelf life of eggs by a lot. So that's why we have conducted a lot of tests in the lab repeatedly to see if it can last this weather. 42 degrees is very high temperatures to test eggs. Even in a lab setting, people have only tested eggs up to 35 degrees or 30 degrees. So even if you try to go look for research papers, you don't find papers where they have tested eggs for above 30 or 35 degrees. So we're trying to test for harsh conditions because we feel like if we build a product like this that can extend the shelf life of eggs, that can withstand the harsh climates of India, I think other parts of the world can also tend to benefit, such as Southeast Asia, and Middle East and Africa.
Okay. Are consumers in India willing to adopt new egg preservation technologies?
So, since egg preservation itself is not new here, and people are investing a lot of money on infrastructure to have a cold room in order to preserve eggs. So if you find a large layer farm where people have a lot of chickens, like 8 lakh birds, if they have 8 lakh birds, then for sure that farm will be attached to a cold room where they can store eggs. And that infrastructure is going to cost a lot of money to store. And also the operating cost of it per egg is costing 15 to 20 paisa. So since people are already spending on that money and they're already used to preserving eggs, what we're trying to do is present another alternative that is very, very cost effective and cheaper. So it is not again something that they have already been doing. It's just a different way of preserving eggs that is far less um, expensive compared to the current methods they are being uh, used.
Okay. Are there any government initiatives or subsidies supporting egg storage innovations?
I'm actually quite unaware of this, but we did take part in the poultry tech hackathon, which was held in Coimbatore in January, and we came first place in that hackathon. And so so I was introduced to the judges and everything, and many of the people that were there during the hackathon, they're actually helping me in ways yeah, to at least connecting me to other egg farmers and conducting trials on the ground before we officially launch some product like this. So there's no government subsidy or anything as such, but I think when we can manufacture and sell something for 4 paisa, 3 paisa an egg, I think that itself is I don't think it needs a subsidy at that point.
Okay. How do your solutions address the unique needs of small scale poultry farmers in India? And what strategies are in place to make these technologies accessible and cost effective for them?
So my idea to affect, I mean, basically the reason we're trying to get the price down for these for the egg is because like when we started, I mentioned it was at about 7.2 to 7.5 rupees per egg. Now by converting the liquid to a powder, we're able to sell it. I mean, basically we're able to sell it far cheaper, where it costs the farmer about four paisa, 4.5. I think when we hit scale, I'm hoping that we will be able to get raw materials at a cheaper rate, and we can pass those savings on to farmers. My target is to hit somewhere between 2 to 3 paisa per egg at scale. So if we can do that, then that would be the best way to help the small farms in India. Because ideally, what I would like to do is try to sell small sachets of this powder, which can be easily available in the shops or agriculture shops next to these small farms, and they should be able to buy the sachet, open it, and put it in a 10 liter of water. So the sachets would be small, and then they can just put it over there for 10 liters of water, mix it, and the 10 liters should help them extend the shelf life of their eggs. So that's pretty much where I would like to see this grow to. It's kind of like how Sunsilk and other companies are selling shampoo sachets in these villages. So the same way, if a sachet of a product like this is available to extend the shelf life of their eggs, that would also be quite helpful to them.
Okay. How do you ensure compliance with food safety regulations and quality standards in its preservation process?
So what we have, I mean, at least what we can do is, at least from the manufacturing side, we make sure that everything we buy is food grade, and we also conduct random tests on it. So once we get the product, since everything that we use is food grade, then we use only SS machinery and things like that. So it's set up kind of like a kitchen and a lab. It's a mix between a kitchen and a lab. That's kind of like the infrastructure we've set up. And once we make this product, it can be stored for over a year in powder form. And once you make it into a liquid, it can be stored even in liquid form for over a year. So the shelf life of the solution itself is quite long, and I don't recommend anyone to mix it unless they're going to use it immediately. But after the farmers, if they dip the egg in this solution, for them to store it, it's up to them. And right now there is nobody enforcing egg preservation or anything that comes to egg. And many people, as you saw in the presentation, are getting rotten eggs. So since there's no one enforcing it, at least an initiative like this will prevent people from falling sick. Oh.
Okay. Are there any collaborations or partnerships with research institutions, industry players, or international organizations that have contributed to the development and implementation of your egg preservation technologies?
So, as of right now, I haven't collaborated with anybody, but once after I found this powder and this technology and how we're trying to work this out, I am currently in talks with International Institute of Biotechnology and Toxicology. It is called IIBAT. So I'm in talks with them so that they can do further studies on this. There are many students who are working and trying to earn their PhDs. So we've done a few calls with them. We've kind of shown them the product and told them what they can do. And they're currently seeing if there are different tests and different papers or something, studies they could conduct using this product to see if there are other applications for this. So maybe I mean, I was looking at it only from a perspective of raw eggs and boiled eggs, but people are asking if this can extend the shelf life of eggs that are used for hatcheries for other chickens. They are also asking if these eggs can extend the shelf life of, I mean, sorry, this solution can extend shelf life of other items like vegetables and fruits and fish and meat and other agri products. So, so these scientists are actually looking into things like that, and hopefully by the end of next month we should have a few studies that we can start on.
Okay. How do you address consumer perceptions and acceptance of eggs that have undergone advanced preservation techniques?
Um, I to be honest, um, I think consumers should be happy knowing that a brand is using this so that they know that the eggs that they buy from that particular brand is not going to be spoiled. So, one is obviously by educating the customers, but when I've been talking to egg farmers and egg brands, they feel that they should not even bring it about because they feel that, why even inform the customer about something that they cannot see, smell, or touch, right? They're not going to know the difference of it or anything. It's only the date that is there on the egg is going to be increased. Now, it's up to the egg farm whether they're going to release the product to the supermarket 1 week or 2 weeks before, or whether they're going to give the customer the whole 30 days to choose what to do with the egg. So that since that freedom is there with each brand, it all depends on their supply chain and how they need to manage their brand image and things like that. So what we do is we give that confidentiality to the brand. We'll say that unless you want us to mention that you're using this product, we will not mention it. So that is up to them to control their customers' perception. So if they don't want to mention it at all, that's up to them. If they feel that their customers don't want to be told about this, then that's also their decision. Um, because there's nothing that's going to prove that there's a coating like this over the egg because it's completely microscopic. You cannot even see it or touch it or even smell the product.
Okay. What challenges have you faced in scaling your operations since your establishment?
We haven't yet started fully selling this thing, so we haven't thought of scale yet. But I don't think we'll have trouble scaling it in terms of operations and things like that. I just think that trying to educate some farmers on this topic is where the trouble is going to be. We've spoken to quite a few farmers, and it's mostly the educated ones where there are large farms. We've noticed people show a lot of interest. So like, and all the big egg brands like Eggos, Henfruit, Eggy, and there's quite a few of these large VC funded egg brands that are showing a lot of interest because they're mostly sold on these quick commerce platforms, and that's where all their problems are coming from. So basically, what I think is that the eggs are actually safe as long as the eggs are with the egg company. But once you hand it over to quick commerce companies and other people to store it in the warehouse, they're putting the eggs along with bread and 10 other things, and the temperatures are not maintained in their warehouse and such things like that. And they probably are not following FIFO, first in, first out. So most likely that's where the eggs go rotten. So this kind of a coating would prevent the brand from getting a bad name for something the warehousing people did. So I think something like the challenge I would say would be more around getting the uneducated farmers to be aware something like this even exists. So that's where I feel the challenge is going to be.
Okay. Can you tell us about yourself, your background, and what made you take an interest in?
So so my background is quite diverse. Before this, I founded a D2C hydroponics vegetable delivery company called Gourmet Garden. It was VC funded, and during while working on that for many years, what happened was we were wasting a lot of vegetables that we would buy, and we would just have to dump because it would go rotten. So every month we would actually dump anywhere between 70 to 90 lakhs worth of vegetables across 4 cities. We were operating in Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Bangalore. So when you waste that much money, it came up to roughly uh, close to with a revenue of 7 to 9 crores a month, and you're dumping 70, 80 lakhs worth of vegetables a month, it's not really a very good sign. So I spent a lot of my time trying to extend shelf life of fruits and vegetables and came up with solutions for that. So we tried a lot of things that were there in this presentation, such as azine, shellac, and things like that, for extending the shelf life of fruits and vegetables. But what we noticed is after we tried a bunch of these things and I came out of Gourmet Garden, I still continued to experiment with different shelf life extension techniques and found out that a certain mix of some of these products was actually working better for eggs than for vegetables. So it was actually by chance that I found this, and after finding this by chance, I thought like, let me go give it to a lab and actually get it tested, because if I tell people that, hey, I have this thing that is extending the shelf life of eggs, the first thing they're like, oh, have you tested it in a lab? I say, no, I haven't. So they wanted me to get it tested in a lab. So I've been talking to a few egg farms and egg farmers, and most of their owners have been quite supportive in terms of telling me what test to go get, where to go get it tested, how to go about this process, and they've actually been guiding me a lot because I don't come from the egg background or egg farming background. So coming from fruits and vegetables, this is definitely new territory for me, but looks like the egg farmers really are looking for a solution that is cheap, affordable, and that can do this. So they have been supportive in terms of telling me what test to go get, how to get it tested, what are the conditions to test for, what are the parameters to use, such things like that. So it's been quite an interesting journey so far.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vishal. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank Mr. Vishal Narayanaswamy for
Thank
the talk and for answering the question. This meeting will now be closed.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You
Thank
are
you, ma'am.
most welcome.
Bye.
Bye bye.